Hi, this is me. I dropped the camera on my fat stomach. I told you that I was like, oh my god, I'm like one step away from overweight, like a couple pounds from overweight again. And like I was getting close to underweight, and I don't know what happened in the past 2.5 weeks. So the story, when I hear these kids outside, it is black teens calling each other N-word, getting in fights, throwing stuff, fighting, talking too fast, and when you see their parents, and you'll have like white people, like my kids' old mentors and stuff, come in the neighborhood and like, oh, look at this religious people, with the dad of the family will be all dressed up with khakis or slacks with a button-up shirt, and they'll go to their dry cleaners and get all their stuff pressed and ironed, or that's the same thing, washed and pressed, and then you'll have like the moms all wearing these dresses because they're Muslim with the hair covers and all the gold. Like you can tell it's straight up solid 24 karat. It's so pure gold, or at least close to pure 24 karat. And they'll have their nice purses, and they'll have a clean brand name, nice big minivan or something like that. They were like, dude, that's like a $46,000 car, and supposedly you only pay cash for stuff. Like, how the heck did you afford 46,000? And they'll be flying all over the world, so people will be like, oh, it must be nice living in that family, but the kids are like hoodlums. And it's like, you see in the news people in India, certain bad individuals, gang raping kids, girls, and killing them with gang rape, and you're just like, there's certain individuals that are gonna act a fool, whatever their parents appear to be. And what's sad is when the kids are acting that way in front of the parents and grandparents, like, to me, it's vulgar, disrespectful, and against their religious rules that they're trying to pawn off me, so I don't cover my hair, because I didn't fast with him on Ramadan. It's like, well, I'm a Christian, I don't do that. But it's like, I have my living God. I don't go to church anymore. And when my God tells me to fast, I fast. When my God tells me to pray for somebody, I do it. And there's a lot of searching for a church for me. And I was excluded from every single church I've been to in this town. I don't know why. There was a church, someone said, you don't belong in a white church, you belong in a black church. And she went to this church up the street from her house where there was like 6 people. And as soon as we walk in, everyone's staring at us, and some little kids running back. I'm just like, dude. Like, you live in this neighborhood and you hear the music on Sunday morning while you're walking around with your friends that are on smack, and you're just like, peeking in and seeing black people in the parking lot, and you're like, this was my so-called friend, like, dude, you don't belong in that other church. And the other church was somewhat diverse, a little bit diverse, that it's like my invite and my religion, like non-denominational and all that. And these people were like, you need to go to a black church. Hold on. You need to go to a black church. You shouldn't be sitting in there with these white people. And I was just like, you're not my friend. Like, you're not here. Like, you're talking about this lady went to school, master's or whatever, nonviolent communication, or what's the word when you don't, conflict resolution. And all she was talking about MLK and peaceful protests and marches and stuff and civil rights. But I'm like, she's totally like, well, she was from Alaska and she was from a wealthy white family, and she's very like still in that we're gonna copy MLK's marches for her. She was an anarchist. She was gonna copy the marches in order to promote anarchy, but she wasn't. She was looking at the method. It's like someone could inject insulin to save their life, and someone else could inject drugs and it could be killing them. You have the same method, the same utensil. You could even clean it with the alcohol swab, put a tourniquet or whatever you call it on there, and whatever. And you don't need to do that with insulin, but whatever, you know what I mean? Like, there's a method, and there's tools that can be used for good and not so good. And so she's using a tool, MLK, without the belief of equality. And it was very interesting to hear her views, and she helped me to get away from my ex. But at the end, I said she was a vessel to help me realize that I was not scum of the earth. And at the time, that's what I needed to hear. So when you're with abusive people and everyone's abusive, and you finally get God's talking to my through my thick skull that I needed to go into change my surroundings and the people I hung out with and being a safer spot for me and the kids. It took someone down in the bowels of society where I was, who was a notch up, to help try to catapult me. Like, she stayed in those bowels, but she was trying to help catapult me and my kids out of it. And it took somebody at my level to listen to, instead of, like, she helped me with diet and helped the kids. My kids still complain about her making them eat green beans or something like that. Peaches, I don't know where there's something. Oh, I have a nectarine somewhere in this house. And I'm so hungry. I spilled my nuts all over the floor. I'm so mad. I'm almost out of olive oil. So for the love story, you saw, I was talking about it's kind of a PTSD, like a war syndrome on 4th of July, where you hear all the firecrackers, fireworks, and you get like, you feel like someone's bombing your neighborhood. Hearing these deep voices and the vulgarity of it. I hear it right now. I will be talking to you about love stories and about getting out of debt and about working my business, and I will end up stuttering myself into talking for an hour and 51 more minutes, and I'll never get to a point. I shouldn't say never. And the dreams I have turn into this ink blots. I used to have this messed up photographic memory where I'd memorize stuff for medical school first year, and during the test it would appear in my mind, and it would be like it was a dry erase board with the answers, like what I studied all over, like on a chalkboard or dry erase board, and it's like somebody sprayed it with that stuff you spray when it won't erase, and it starts like acid, it starts just like dissipate, and you're like, no, wait, what is that enzyme? I can't read. Is that an A? No, it's a B. No, it's a Z. I can't. And so what I had to do when I flipped through the test was just write everything I could remember right away and I had to write it out. I couldn't use my brain. When I changed my diet, I was able to use my brain for tests, but I also became a kinesthetic, so I took a test by myself without distraction in a room, and then I would literally walk around the room talking to myself out loud during a test, and then I got good grades, and I hope to God they didn't think I was cheating, but I found out that I'm super ultra sensitive to noise, and my doctor said it was because my body and my nervous system developed in the condition of domestic violence as a young child, and that I was ultra, she said I was retaining primitive reflexes. I think part of it is the martial arts, part of it is the detox, where you can, one of my doctors who had been in practice over 30 years, asked me about detox on a cellular level, and in my mind it's so clear, and it's visual, and it's something to put it to words. And I've had many doctors that when I wasn't licensed, they were licensed, they were residents, they were doctors for 30-something years, and they asked me something that they didn't understand, so they want me to explain it. They're like, oh yeah, you're brilliant, they're this or that. I was like, can I be your assistant when I get my license? No, I work alone. But some people also gave me the stink eye when their patients were interested in what I had to say when I was not the primary on the case or when I was a student. People got ticked off, and I think some of it still has to do with skin color. A relative told me that they should have got a promotion at this one thing, that they saved this program and this and this and this, and they told them behind the scenes how good of a job and how they saved this thing, and other people before them were all around them failed, but that if that person would have been white, they would have got promoted and publicly recognized with the ceremony, but they didn't And this was right during the end of segregation. And it's, you know, in your heart that, say you did this contest and you lifted 10 pounds and you did this thing and you placed it on the bullseye perfectly, and then the person next to you did it near perfectly, so you actually got a 9 out of 10, you got a 10 out of 10, but the person next to you wins the first prize and you don't win anything. Like, I had that happen so many times, and you're like, what? Did someone videotape us? No, I'm sorry, we disqualified you. Oh, I'm sorry, you haven't worked here long enough. Oh, I'm sorry, you... And this, like, the fighting, I questioned, if you think after 20-something years that you punched 3 times right in the gut while this person was so slow, it's like the big giant, they're lifting their knee up still, and you've already punched them 3 times on the bullseye of their gear, of their protective gear, and the judges didn't give you any points. Like, what? And you know in your mind that they're favoring the opponent. And what you do when you don't get points is you end up getting worn out. Because you're just like, that wasn't good enough, let me do it again. That wasn't good enough, let me do it again. And then you never get any points. I hated that. I tried to join a Christian Taekwondo group. They had a fair over at the Salvation Army, like during one of the, people had tables and stuff set up. And there was all these white kids with parents. And they're like, talking to him, giving brochures, come for a free tryout, this, that. And I went to talk to him, and they're like, I was like, dude, seriously, like, I would have joined it with my kids, like the 3 of us, but they were like, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, same thing. A lot of this happens to me. The next thing is, I have a really bad stomach ache, by the way. The next thing is, I hate the noise outside my window. Someone else lives in a quieter part of this street, and they said they're terrified of where their house is, which is right there. And I'm like, dude, mine sucks. It's loud all the time. They're like, oh, you want to trade? They're like, I'm scared because there's apartments and stuff behind them, and they hear weird noises. And I was in there before at night, and the neighbors next door were drunk and yelling in the backyard and stuff. And I was like, oh, I had no idea until I was at your house how crazy it is. And it's summer, you're trying to keep your windows open. But what happens with me since I moved in was I had to say, oh, it's time for bed. Oh, it's time to do this. Oh, it's time to play the piano. Oh, it's time to open the window and let some fresh air in. Just people right outside your window. I want to walk around in my underwear and, like, freaking, put, like, I had this little clip-on thing and, like, put glitter on my face and dance to my music. But I don't want the possibility that these people right outside my bedroom window are going to be able to see, because my blinds don't fit the windows and the curtains over them, don't block the shadow of me dancing. Like, so I don't do what I want to do, and then I used to, when I was home more, I'd be like, go to a different room and clean, scrub a toilet, go do laundry, turn on a dishwasher, like, just, if I'm in this room and it's noisy outside the window, then go to the other part of the house, and then when that part of the house aggravates you, or you get too exhausted, then go, like, and I hate how I always want to listen to music or do my, YouTube, because it's not the way I wanted to do prayer and meditation. I wanted to be in the here and the now. I had a meditation blanket, but it's gone. Actually, it's outside my door. Oh, sorry, not a blanket, but a rug. And I used to sit on there and force myself to sit for 10 minutes and acknowledge the noise outside my house. And sometimes when you breathe and allow your stress to decrease because of this noise, sometimes it's like hiccups, obviously. You say, you promised yourself. These same kids are the ones that would, every time I got on my car, they would surround me with baseball bats. About 6, 7 teenage boys when I first moved in. And they would spit at the ground, get closer to me so that I couldn't move. And cuss at me in Somali. They did it every day. The same kids. And as I come about a mile from home, I tell my daughter, go outside and wait for me. And, if something happens, then you call the cops or you come out there and start cutting someone with a knife. It's like, you're under 18. You will get as much trouble as I would. No, that I was scared. I thought that they were going to kill me because of what they were saying and their body language and their aggression. And their parents are sitting here giving me the evil eye because they're going to the mosque on Ramadan and, going to work 3 hours a week and getting $2,000 plus a month on welfare, looking at me like I'm the bad guy because I'm not their religion. My old church didn't like gays, blacks, Catholics, Muslims. I don't know about Jews, and get a lot of people up and walk out of a sermon because of their language, their hatred. And I unfortunately stayed there too long and was almost brainwashed, trying to tell us to hate Obama. I was like, I don't know him as an individual, but you're straight up racist, so you will never, ever, ever vote for him, no matter what. It's only two things different between him and, who was it, not Romney, I don't know who he went against. Only two things different. Sarah Palin and that guy, I don't know. It's getting louder and louder. Sometimes I want to put on my thrift store lingerie and just be a 40-something-year-old and be like, I'm single. I'm going to sit here and burn candles and watch a funny movie and be an adult. And in this neighborhood, these people try to dress up. Like, I'll be wearing jean shorts and a Star Wars shirt, and these women will be all, like, religiously dressed and look at me like, Tch. Kids will be like, what do you think, you a teenager? Why you got a skateboard? Why do you got this? I was like, why you got those kind of boots on? Like, I've been wearing these kind of boots since 10 years before you were born. Like, these are probably the same freaking boots that I've had since the 90s. In some cases, like, and adults make fun of when I wear a skirt or my hair in a scarf. I'm like, I done had this stuff for 15 years. It's like, I'm not copying you and I'm not trying to be somebody else. This is, like, I don't shop for stuff unless it's thrift store finds. But it's like, you want to be an adult and you want to see, what did I do as a child to get motivated to clean and do stuff? Well, I watched movies and videotapes of movies, like teenage movies where the kids were on this adventure and then they met the boy and then they had their friends and they laughed and they went to dances and their parents had a nice clean house and that, sweetheart, after dinner you're going on your date, can you tell him to come into the door so I can meet him? And everyone would be like, the family would be sitting there with the little brother and the dog watching some old movie, and the house would be all clean, the dishwasher would be running, and the phone would ring because grandma's calling, and they're like, okay, bye, mommy, we're going to be late for the movie, and all this stuff, and you're like, oh, I can't, like, those are the type of fantasies I would have not fantasies, those are the type of movies I would have to be, like, motivated to, like, clean my house. Once my mom gave me a chore list, but when you're taught by your loved ones that they hate you, and they don't teach you to nourish and take care of your own self in a holistic manner, I'm learning. So it's like, that in me is 2 years old. So 2016, that in me, the commitment to leave abusive people when I can, and in the still small voice in my heart says, forget about these kids. You could sell the lingerie on freaking eBay for 3 cents or negative 30 cents or whatever it ends up to be, but your mind and your imagination and your stories will still live whether these fools are outside your window or not, and you don't want them peeking in at your shadow whether you're fully dressed, wearing a snowsuit, or whether you're wearing tank tops and pajamas, or whether you're wearing, like, lingerie because you just want to be like, why should a 40-something-year-old wait, like when I was in my 20s and I was married and I had this kind of clothing, even before I was married, my mom was very old-fashioned, so we would have like lingerie and pantyhose and stockings and high heels and all that kind of jazz, hair stuff, makeup, jewelry. We'd have all that kind of jazz, and it's like, why would we wait? Why would women wait? Like, when I was married, it was fun. I had a whole wooden trunk full of like lingerie and sexy stuff, and it was fun to play as an intimate married couple. And it's like, I am single and I've been single. Why shouldn't I? Basically, because I'm tired all the time, it's like basically it turns into pajamas. But hearing these people shouting outside my window, it's really, really annoying. It's like you hear kids cussing and calling each other the N-word and all this, and then you hear these guys being extremely vulgar and loud for hours on end with no regard to the fact that they are loud. It's like, obviously their parents are like high on something or something, because there's no way I would even consider my kid having, like, basically partying on the porch. But then it's like, oh, I could live in a condo, even in a rich part of town, and someone below me could be smoking pot, and I could be breathing it in all day. Like, I have to think. And during prayer and meditation, there's a narcissistic lady who lives here, the narcissistic family, and my higher power is like, that is the biggest worry you have. Like, right now, that is the biggest threat to your survival, in a spiritual, passive-aggressive, and narcissistic way. And it's a threat to your business, your home, and your health. And that's what I hear in my, I need scissors because I got like a knot in my hair. That's what I hear during prayer and meditation. And it's been like that for years. You can't do anything. It's like, well, you can move to a place. Well, it's going to cost you money that you don't have. Well, maybe you had the money, but you spent it on popcorn. You don't even eat popcorn. Or you spent it on like, you know, $1,000 worth of like Q-tips or something that like, you're never going to use. Like, if I bought Q-tips, I probably would use them, but it's like buying something that you don't use. Like, I don't know if we use cotton balls, like buying $1,000 worth of cotton balls. Like, you could have used that for rent somewhere. Like, what if I just went crazy and got a storage unit, got everything from my eBay store in their storage, no long contract, and freaking just packed up my stuff. Like I told you, duffel bag. All I wanted to have is a duffel bag. And then I was like, well, I want the 2 fireproof containers with important papers, the insurance papers, and the photographs. We have a lot more photographs than that, but just like some of the photographs. And then I want a duffel bag with my clothes and toiletries, and then I want 1 household bag of like stuff that could be used indoor, outdoor, like cast iron and stuff, and then 1 bag for the animals. It's like if you have emotional attachment, but it's like you could literally get on an airplane with that amount of stuff, or you could ship that stuff and drive across the country with the animals and the kids. That's how mobile I want to be, and I've never been that way. I was supposed to have a $5 sale at my store. So the point of this is, if my higher power is telling me that these kids are nothing, and that your relatives mock you because they know that you live in this kind of slum, and that when they are not abusing me, like when my mom was letting me date these pedophiles, my mom could take a rest from the abuse and let someone else take over, and still, like my teacher said, lick your chops. The lion's got his kill, and he's satisfied, his stomach is full, he licks his chops. And so that's where I am today, is just thinking like I'm highly considering just getting a storage, and I'm like, I don't want to pay money, but because I have the eBay store, the stuff's not just going to the trash or the Goodwill. Like, I've thrown away a lot of things that were valuable just because we had inspections, big ones, and we had to get rid of it. It's like, if we get evicted tomorrow, it's going to the garbage anyway, so you might as well, like, be selective about it. The other thing is, you want to cut spending, but you got to buy sanitary napkins, toilet paper, soap, shampoos. We were in a time with only using free samples, but then with the allergies and the hives and the allergic reactions, it becomes necessary to maintain these products that I've found over the years. Having a medical episode because I'm eating or applying the wrong type of thing. So going back to the weight gain, and then I'm getting a rash on deodorant that I'd used before. I don't know if they changed the formula and all this. Having used a razor that we never used before, that strip on there could have been the cause of that rash. So it's been months I've had it. Me and my daughter both had it, but it's like, sometimes the body, like for me, I was eating popcorn every day, then I developed anaphylaxis towards popcorn, and that was after the time that my teacher said overdoing something can cause the body to all of a sudden say, stop, never again will you eat this. Sometimes people overdid wheat or potato or whatever in your body. He talked about, this is stuff you're not tested on, and I listened to every word he said. And I still remember it to this day from 2009. I still remember it so clear. So stuff I'm not tested on. I'm so glad my memory works like that. But it's what you know in real life. So you can be your own guinea pig on yourself. And then some people say, listen to me like, wow, you're brilliant. Wow, what? How do you know so much? I don't know. I'm a geek. Why not know so much? Like, why do you eat that way? I don't know. Why not eat that way? That's the question. People think you're odd. You're swimming upstream. Why? Because I happen to like swimming upstream. Everyone else, 99.9% of people that swimming downstream are floating on a raft. I want to swim against the current. Like, why? It's not illegal. Why can't I have that right? You know. And you guys are all at water anyway. And I could, you know, drown. Have leg cramps and drown. It's not saying that what I'm doing is right. It's just what I'm doing. I'm not saying that what I'm doing you should do, because you all can go on the waterfall and I'll survive, and I'll be swimming upstream by myself and perish and no one will hear from me again. Like I don't know. Same thing. I changed my diet, and then I had the car accident. I thought, ooh, I'm not able to just magically say, gee, I'm not gonna smoke, I'm not gonna drink, I'm not gonna use substances, I'm gonna eat healthy, I'm gonna exercise, stay fit, meditate, pray, read the Bible, do this, journal, you know, enjoy my life, go to my meetings, play solitaire, and then all of a sudden get whacked from the back, and you're just like, wow, you almost blew out my flame of life. So the eBay store, I feel in my heart is going to be the trick to getting out of debt fast. Not fast, but at all, period. Getting out of debt before death. And that's what's in my heart. I had a couple of lotto tickets I found about 10 years ago, and after church I'd go to the post office. I was trying to get child support, and then no one would ever instate it. I was on welfare for a while. DHS wouldn't instate it, and then I went back and forth between DHS and the welfare or the child support division downtown. Went back and forth. So much paperwork, it never got enforced. So he doesn't even owe back child support because it never got enforced because of these fools. And I kept getting nasty grams like, he's not paying child support, you're going to be in trouble. He's not supplying health insurance for your kids, you're going to be in trouble. I was like, I've done everything I could. I don't know where this fool is. I don't know anything about it. He's homeless. He's in jail. I don't know. I had to get a lawyer to try to find him and post random notes on bulletin boards at the courthouse, because it's like, you can't find this person. I don't know where this fool is. He's obviously hiding from us. God told me, I found $4 worth of lotto tickets in a newspaper. I used to get the free newspaper because I couldn't buy it. And I missed reading the newspaper. I was a kid. We had the Detroit Free Press, and then I think it got merged for a while. But we would get the Free Press and then the Oscoda Press. Once a week we'd get that, and the other one would get 7 days a week, and I miss it. And I miss the funnies, basically. I just miss the funnies. But I would see my mom reading the newspaper and watching the news, which is probably a little bit too depressing. And We watched it on the entertainment tonight, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, so it got a little bit better. I gotta get my double chin back because I feel like I'm gonna throw up. And it ends up like where I literally feel like I'm gonna throw up. I think the stress of what I was just talking about, the people and the abuse. Sometimes I get high is talking about abusers. You'll see me in my videos start scratching really bad, and it's like my body is like, oh my god, get away from them. They're not healthy. Get away from that. Get away from weed. Get away from this. Get away from that chemical. It's like causing aggravation for your body. Like somebody's beating you up. That's causing aggravation for your body. But I had the I forgot what I was gonna say. I got freaked out. I heard these people again, and their voices are really deep. Oh yeah, what if I tried to just move? I tried the beginning of summer. I tried to get on every wait list for all these places. They weren't even. Everything was full except for way out in the boondocks, halfway to the beach. I was like, that's gonna be a commute. My kid can ride the bus and walk to and from work and school. Walk or ride the bus, and I could ride the bus if I needed to, or if I wanted to, or if I needed to because of a winter storm, my car, something happened to the battery or something. I could ride the bus, and it's also close enough that if you really needed a ride, or if you got called in. So I was like, why would I move from here to some apartment, some 2-bedroom apartment out in the middle of nowhere that's gonna cost me $400 more a month? I'm like, and you don't know if there's not gonna be 10 families like these guys outside their front door or outside their bedroom window. Anyways, I'm mad. I'm mad. I want to look mad. I'm gonna go and write in my journal about my story. And the two characters' names are Mark and Pika. I don't know if I want to pronounce it Pika or Pika. And she's basically it's a version of me that never occurred because I've never had true romance like that. And for me in real life, I was really malnourished during pregnancy, and I'm sure I had pica. Like, they call it eating disorder on Wikipedia, where it's like you're craving, you're anemic and you're malnourished and you're pregnant and you're eating. I don't think you have to be pregnant, but you're eating junk, ice cubes and weird stuff and ashes and dirt, and it's I was super malnourished, like super duper, like it's bad. They always talk about blacks not getting I can't remember what it's called. Oh, your bones get osteoporosis. But my bones, my teeth, my cartilage is whack. It's messed up. Someone tried to say it was because of bad hygiene and all this stuff, but I'm like, your body breaks down the bone, the cartilage, the teeth. Sometimes it's because of acidic environment, and it's literally trying to say you need a pH at a certain level, like a perfect level. You're gonna die. That's what people go to diabetes, ketoacidosis. You really need to be aware of this and realize that your body will leach. It's not just gonna go. It's gonna HCl. It's got acid. It's got bicarb. Your body is gonna take minerals. So if you spill acid in a chemistry lab, you put baking soda on it before you clean it up, and you neutralize it. Your body is gonna get a alkaline or a mineral wherever it can to neutralize acid, and it could leach your body, like when you're pregnant, to give the child the nutrients, because your child is very important. And someone is like skateboarding right outside my house. It's so annoying.
I think of people on dope and alcohol, and I think they just check out. But what I hear in the meetings is they don't. They, for like a second, they feel okay, but then the problem is still there. It's like, oh, they're gonna smoke drugs to forget about the fact that rent's due tomorrow and they can't afford it. But not only did they smoke up the rest of their money, now when they sober up and wake up in the morning, the problem's gonna be even compounded even worse. But sometimes these stoners or these crazy people still seem so much happier than me. But I'm gonna go and just listen, like pray and meditate, and I might watch a video on Everest, and I'll probably finish my Nelson video that I was watching. I probably will finish watching one. I was watching the montage. I didn't like it too much, but it was. I can understand it's a different artist. You have this change, and I go to work in a few hours, so I have to go. But I'm gonna pray and meditate in a ritualistic way about my story with Mark and Pika, and what I was going with in reading the author's stories was sometimes you hear, I volunteer in the hospital, there's a lot of love stories going on there from really old people. They're meeting the loves of their lives when they're in high school and being married for 6 years and all this craziness. And it's not craziness, all this stuff that I don't understand. That's why it's crazy to me. Growing their kids, owning property, owning homes, having all these different pets. Everyone talked about having bunnies in the backyard and like pet bunnies and all that stuff. And not everyone, but a lot of folks, that was normal, especially have property and land. A lot of people are sound American, white Americans are actually immigrants. They come from Europe into Canada, into the U.S. A lot of them were military men. I had some World War II. I had one female at least one female World War II veteran. I was amazed by her. I want to be like, if I would have been allowed to do it, I was like, ma'am, can I get your autograph? You are my hero right now. I can't believe you're a veteran of World War II. Not many of us around. I saw some people that were over 100 years old, and that was I felt honored. 3-year-olds, I felt honored as you have many opportunities of death. All these kids died in cars. Hot cars. You know, back in the day, for people broke into cars, well, people always broke into cars, you would leave the windows down and the heat. You would just automatically be like, now it's like, we're all like getting stuff broken and all that stuff. Like, and a kid would have survived if the windows were all down, halfway down. But, and everything's tinted, so if you parked in a structure, garage, no one's gonna see the kid in there. They're gonna get that kid, bust the window, or open up the door if it's. Anyways, it's sad. It breaks my heart because I think of how tired I am working, and I just think of other people. Dealing with fatigue and overwork and stressful conditions, and I tend to think they always have it better than me, but then it's like that one slip up where you think your husband took the kid to work and you forgot you did, and you're still haven't had your morning coffee, and you're just going about your day, and your memories thinking of yesterday when your kid was at daycare and what they were wearing, and this. It's so sad. Like, it's so sad. I used to drop my kids off in daycare, and it was a dangerous place. I used to sit in the parking lot and pray for 20 minutes. This one daycare, and I finally took them out, and then I got penalized by DHS for taking them out. I was like, this place is paid by DHS. You guys need to call the cops and have these people arrested. It was really bad. It was really, really bad. Like, it's like the stuff you see in the news about daycare centers. Like, getting, like, It may not have been, but it's like it's a similar line of story as like some tweaker daycare worker, like um, some tweaker sexually molested kids or something, and they feed him food with maggots. It's just like it was a horrible. And all the kids got diseases because nobody washed their hands, and I don't know, people smoking meth in the classroom with babies or something. It's crazy stuff. Crazy. I would watch through the windows. When I got to a point where enough is enough, I took my kids home. Actually, I didn't leave. I stayed there and monitored my kids for an hour. Then I went home. And I had to take my son to my DHS appointment next day. They told me to drop out of school. So I wanted to be a doctor and go volunteer in the hospital 9 to 5 starting Monday morning, or 8:30 to 4:30. I was like, I ain't got childcare, I'm not going. They're like, well, you're in trouble. And the biggest reason I was in trouble, like, I'm in medical school. You want me, I want to be a doctor, but you want me to volunteer 40 hours a week? I'm already in med school, or pre-med, or I don't know what I was in, but I was on the right track. Dropping out of school seems like you would stay impoverished. Like, the volunteering is it's not even a job. If it was like, hey, you need to go work full time and work school around your schedule, that would have been different. It would have been impossible. Medical school is full time. There would have been no way. But I can't see working for free 40 hours a week. Like at least send me to try to get a medical receptionist job or something, or send me to one of those 6-week phlebotomy classes or something, and like let me earn income and then go to school around that schedule, or go to work around that schedule. Pika and Mark, those are code names for someone, and I'm a single person. Sometimes in this neighborhood, it's like you want to act like an adult, but the parents here seem to act like children, like grown children. They really do. But they have a community. They dress a certain way, do their hair a certain way, your jewelry, car, cleaning. And when they're all in cahoots and doing what each other thinks they should be doing, then everything's fine. And they don't understand American culture, so they look at me and get in my face and get disrespectful and start going off on me. I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, I'm helping someone with a medical issue, and you bust in the house, and these people know that I don't like, this is your information. I am not inviting these people. This is confidential, and if you give permission for this person to come, then that's your choice, but I prefer not to. And these people start getting in my face. I'm like, wait, who's the one here with the medical degree? Like, they're trying to tell me to lie, or tell my clients to lie about paperwork and stuff. Like, tell my client, I'm out of here. I suggest you don't listen to this fool, because you're going to end up in jail. And you're going to have your taxes garnished and your paychecks garnished for the rest of your life, and you're only like 20 years old. So I suggest you don't listen. Like, it really sucks. But it's like, in their culture, maybe it's okay for them to. It's like, if their culture treats women bad, then women treat each other bad. And they're so rude. Then when you see the kids acting that way, the little kids are cussing and swearing at each other and punching each other. And the adults are doing the exact same thing. So you think that's why the parents don't say, oh my god, little Johnny, little Sally, you need to apologize to that lady. You broke her toy, let's go to the store and replace it. They're basically, they don't see anything wrong. I'm not their parent, and their culture is different than mine. But when they start to mess with me and my kids, and it's like, oh, heck no. No. Like, you can stay in your little family and do your crazy behavior, but, like, once you start crossing a boundary into my life, no. You know. And what sucks is they try to be like, we're the queen and kings of the world, and you must bow down to us. Like, people judge you and your religion, and they hate you for who you are, and you're not loving to people that are different than you,
except you expect you are seeking those people to love you and take you as an individual. Like you expect other people to treat you the way that you're not accepting to other people. I'm not saying you have to accept the haters, but you're not accepting people who don't cover their arms when they go outside, or people that don't take their shoes off when they come in the house, or people that have dogs, or people whose kids eat pork, like whatever, you know. I'm gonna read my book and I'll just sleep. I'm so tired. I'm out of olive oil. But this is what I wish, since I don't even think I'm recording anymore. I am. This is what I wish. I don't necessarily wish that the story would come true because it gets intense and there's a set of kids involved, a new kid, twins and stuff, for 40-something-year-olds. Wouldn't that be a trip though if it did happen? And I was like, dear God, I was praying that I could practice love or something. That you never know. It could be a prophecy. It could have prophetic thought come into my mind. A picture worth 1,000 words comes into my mind. I saw a video in my mind in medical school, like the path of the blood cells to the heart and to the little tiny toe and back to the heart to the lungs. I see the video of it. There's a happy little red blood cell here, and one is happily full with oxygen, the other one is happily full to get rid of that CO2. It was hard to express it in words. I had to teach myself to add the words to pictures so I could communicate with other people, as they thought I was an idiot. But I visualized everything. And that made it really, really able to understand how the body works and how to heal it. And it's obstruction. Cheese obstructed. But I pretend to wish. I don't allow myself to accept things unless people force it on me. And what I want to say is that I am I secretly feel like I have to sneak around the people from my past, the haters, even haters from the present, and that if I were the main character of the story and this hottie guy liked me, that I would be accepting a gift from God. And not only would I just be taking out of it, giving, because God told me a few years ago that my future mate and I would be able to do good of heaven on earth exponentially as a couple versus single. Not that being single would be pointless to the work of heaven on earth, but I told my friend this in 2016. She laughed at me, but she had a little bit of issues thinking. She just laughed, and I still think that's who I think I am. But she was wise, and she's the type of person that I wish we could hang out more. I wish I could contribute more, buy them dinner or something. You know, that exponentially helping could help her if I was in that relationship, or could have a house that was adequate enough to invite people over for dinner, or if people, you know, in my program were in a domestic violence situation, or if they were trying to get away from abusers or users or abusers when they're trying to clean up their life, have a spare room or cabin for them to stay at while they wait for your housing to go into effect, instead of having them sleep in the car, or like I did,
go to people's houses worse than their original house that you left for your husband or someone with druggie. Go to another house and you find out it's even worse and you're not on the lease. You don't have a key. And people are doing such crazy stuff. You don't know when the cops are going to raid. Not if they're going to raid, when. And that you're going to go down with these fools. Like, at least in your own house, you go down for something, you're responsible for it. You're also responsible for what your spouse is doing. Or any roommates or people they bring in. But I kind of know some more of what they're doing than the guy hiding in the basement. Those are the houses that DHS sent me to as safe houses from abuse. Maybe safe from abuse, but it wasn't safe from insanity. Insanity. Pedophile. Crazy. Druggy. People hiding in sheds. Living in sheds. People living in basements. I don't mind it. It's just that when the lady told me about the people, I was like, you're gonna let me and my kids stay at your house? These people are cuckoo. You even tell me these people are living there. Like, running around in the backyard with no clothes on. And there's men out there peeking through lines of your garage. Are like, kind of scaring me. I don't remember those days. So, those again are people that helped catapult me out of that hellhole of what I called life. When I was in survival mode. So, it didn't matter how horrible it was. I was in survival mode. I was itching and fighting to live. My mind says, you don't deserve any love. You don't deserve some guy looking at you saying, wow, she's not, like, most people don't say that I'm good looking, but they'd be like, wow, she's a pure heart. She's sweet. She's funny. She's fun. Something about me. It's like, wow, she'd make a good date. Let's hang out. Let's text or something. But it hasn't happened yet. But I also, the law of attraction, there's a couple people in my life, and there's a whole bunch underneath them. With the two or three, four powerful ones. It's like, oh, H-E double hockey sticks, no. You think you're gonna get a man? You think you're gonna make an income? You think you're gonna drive a nice car? You think your hair gonna look nice? Like, you think you're gonna lose weight? You think you're gonna have a clean house? All this stuff that normal people strive to do. My relatives had said, who you think you are? You ain't gonna have any of that. And my mind repels the exact thing that I want. And the stuff that I want is normal. Like, some pedophile might say, oh, they're gonna retrain themselves. They got busted and not go to parks and schools and not look at kiddie porn. They have to train themselves not to do what's wrong, but I have to train myself to do what's right. I'm not saying that it's like I'm repelling it. I'm running away from it. It's like I'm being punished. It's like they're touching me and it's wrong for me to do that, when that's the way that you help to be a productive member of society, and that you are help to be a family person, and all this stuff. So my point is, I have to be willing to let go and let God relax my shoulders and just live my life and not be mad when the love story doesn't happen or friendships don't happen or money doesn't happen, but to enjoy and be grateful for what I have. And the second thing is, it's not necessarily the second thing, but just be able to I talked to one counselor at a free clinic because I don't have health care from people. No one will see me. A bazillion wait lists. I've gotten people cancel. Mostly it's because I'm on Medicaid, and this one counselor's like,
looks at me in the face and says, "Are you present?" I told her about the abuse in 2016. And I said, "Yeah." Because I started just talking about this is what happened in my childhood. And she goes, "Well, I had to ask you because some people are not present." And that's the first time I feel like the abuse is so strong in your mind that it can suck you out of reality almost like a drug. And it doesn't take anything but a thought. Like, it doesn't actually take a substance or, it's literally a thought that goes on to your mind, and you're stuck in this frequency, this vibration. And that's where I am all the time, and that's why people complain, and that's why some people don't want to listen to me talk, because I'm still stuck in the rut. But I heard a Chinese medicine / naturopath practitioner talk about one of her Chinese teachers told her, everyone's like, "Man, you need to take deep breaths and calm down and just relax your shoulders." But in this guy, it'd be like this, all hunched up. She's like, "My teacher said to let him be like that because your body needs to do that right now. And then when it's done, it's done. It's not pent up." And that was the one time that I ever heard someone say that, like, if your body, it's almost like if your body's having a rash or gas or something that's like gross, and you're in society, you're at work, like, "Oh my god, I have stinky gas," and all this stuff. You'll be like, hold it in. And what does that cause? Constipation, putrefied stuff in your colon. Like, it causes all their issues. The gas goes back up, and then it's stuck at the bottom of your stomach, top of your bowel, like all this stuff. Like, you could end up with reflux. Like, you're just like denying your body to do something. Part of it's this community and society has made it socially unacceptable. Your horse roaming around, you have to pee, you pee, you gotta poop, you poop. But if you're in a show, your horse is gonna be trained to put blinders on and do what they say, jump how high. I'm gonna go and meditate about my story, and I'm gonna ask God to help me to. I might be taking all the memory in my computer. I'm gonna ask God to help me to accept the gifts of God, because I just started accepting stuff from people. Like, if someone's like, "Oh, I'm gonna give you $2," I'm like, no, it's okay. Shut your mouth. They want to give you $2. Let them give you. Peace.